Thank you. My name is Jeff, and I am a compulsive overeater. And I'm abstinent today because I weigh and measure 3 meals a day up the gray sheet. I write it down. I commit it to my sponsor, and I'll eat in between meals, no matter what. And abstinence is the most important thing in my life. And there's somebody who comes on the meetings every Sunday or every the morning meetings in Connecticut, and they always talk about it's such a gift. It's such a gift. And when I hear them say that, it is a gift. For me, my introduction to GreySheeters Anonymous was almost 35 years ago, because I got sober in 1986, and that first year of being sober, clean, I was able to see how the addiction manifested, after I put down the alcohol and the drugs. I mean, actually, I ended up realizing this time, not the first time around, I realized this time around that my first vice was the food. I didn't really see it the first time. I think that I saw it, but I didn't really truly accept it. I was more caught up with the fact that I was able to go to the store and buy clothes and all these things that I couldn't do. All this stuff, I say this stuff a million times. It's sort of like, I remember going into the store. It's no longer exists. It was in Manhattan. And I went to the store, and I could never buy anything in that store, because every time I went in there, they didn't never have the size that I wanted. So I would have to leave and go somewhere else. So I remember I must have been abstinent for about a year, and I lost like a remarkable amount of weight, because I was initially at that time, I had weighed almost 300 pounds. And then I went under 200 pounds. So I was able to wear, where I was wearing like maybe 48 or 50, I was able to wear 32. And I remember going into the dressing room, and I put these pants on, and I looked at the pants, and my head said, you can't wear these pants. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't imagine myself getting in these pants, but I actually got into them. And I got used to the rewards of being abstinent. I got used to the rewards of being Gray Sheet abstinent. And but I didn't understand the whole program. I didn't take the whole program as it is written down. One of the things I'm grateful about is that I did come in during that time, and it was very it was very strict at that time. So a lot of that, the stuff that I learned from before, I just brought it with me when I came back. One thing that I really want to say, it is so easy to stay abstinent than to get abstinent. And I have to say that, because I'm going to tell you that when I left, at the time that I actually did leave, I was going through a whole bunch of stuff. And one of the things that I didn't do around that time is I didn't reach out to people. I didn't make phone calls. I was making meetings in both fellowships, but I made more meetings in AA and NA. And I made minimal meetings in Gray Sheet. I didn't call people in Gray Sheet. And for me, and I'm not talking about anybody else, I'm just talking about for myself, I could not do this program unless I reached out. This time around, it was very awkward to reach out to people, but I couldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for the fact that I did reach out to people, and I did do service. I could tell you, I was stuck around there back then for about maybe 5 or 6 years. And it was like kind of like this iffy type of Gray Sheet abstinence, where every once in a while I wouldn't use the scale, but I wouldn't say nothing. I wouldn't say anything. It's sort of like you coming into an AA meeting and saying that you're sober, but occasionally on the weekend you take a drink. That's what it is for me with weighing and measuring my food. There's absolutely no exception. But for me, I needed to go through what I needed. I needed to go through what I went through to make it back and to find out how serious this disease really is. It took me 20 plus years to make it back here. Okay, I relapsed during a time when there was a lot of deaths in my family. All those no matter what's. My mother died, my grandmother died, my father died, my stepfather, all these people were dying. And because I didn't have a strong foundation in Gray Sheet, I ballooned all the way up from 187 pounds up to almost 400 pounds. I went way past where I was at the last time. The time I came back this time, I had a lot of health issues. You know, I was diabetic. My blood pressure was out of control. It was out of control. I was taking all these medications. It was insane, you know, but I was on a meeting today, and somebody was talking about that one of their friends told them that, hey, you know, why don't you do what you did before? And that was my doctor. And I was listening to this person. She had said, man, my doctor told me, said, Jeff, she said, what did you do the last? He said, you know what you did the last time, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, just do what you did before. But I couldn't, because I got caught in the grip. I was in the grip of the disease. And you know why I'm talking about it now? I have a sponsee, this guy that I sponsored. As far as I'm concerned, I still sponsor him. He's just, he's totally out in the food. And I know what it's like. That you keep on saying it's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And it doesn't happen. The next thing you know, it's like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. For me, it was 20 years. And, you know, and I remember that day I hit a bottom, a real bottom. And I could tell you today, as a result of coming back here, I followed this program to the T, to the T. One thing I went to look for my gray sheet when I came back, I couldn't find it. So what I did is I said, you know what? Forget about anything that I had from before. I'm starting all over again. I'm going to act like I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And I'll just come here and I'm just going to listen to what you guys tell me to do. When I came around that time, there wasn't many men. There were very few men in the fellowship. It was mostly all women, you know, and everybody was a lot, you know, we were all a lot younger anyway. I'm not going to say them because you see, I'm saying they were a lot younger. I was a lot younger as well because I'm a lot older today. So I'm not going to only say just them, but yeah, I was a lot younger, but you know what? The great feeling is today is that I'm a little older, but I have energy. Okay, last week I had a surgery. I could not even do that and follow the directions that the surgeon told me to do if I wasn't abstinent. Because if I was, if I wasn't abstinent, I probably would have blew off the appointment, you know, because that's what I used to do. You know, I blew off a lot of, you know, my doctor's appointments because I didn't want the doctor to tell me that my blood pressure was out of control. I didn't want him to tell me that, you know, something's gonna happen. You're gonna go on insulin, you know. And I'm gonna tell you right now, like I came here, I was almost 400 pounds today. I'm like, what? I think like 200 pounds. I don't even know. But the reality is, I'm not taking those medications. I'm not diabetic anymore. My blood pressure is under control. And I have my life back, and I could do things today, and I could live my life, and I don't have to live my life thinking about what I'm going to eat, because anytime something happened in my life, any life on life term situation that happened in my life, I had to eat. I was going to eat. You know what I mean? Today, in Gray Sheet today, I make meetings almost pretty much almost every day. You know, I'm on either this meeting, maybe on a phone bridge, any kind of meetings. I've even made a couple of face-to-face meetings, you know, and because I value this gift that's given to me, because it was given to me one time and I flipped it away and I got it back and I ain't letting it go. So whatever I have to do to keep it, I'm gonna do it. You know, when Jack asked me to come speak, I learned this in the other fellowship. When somebody asks you to do service, especially carry the message of that, whatever fellowship it is, and you don't say no. You know, I mean, it has to be a really big reason. I mean, of course, in my mind, and because I don't want people to know me, because I still want to hide behind the scenes and not let nobody know who I am. But I have to push past all those things today and put myself out there. And I'm able to do that, you know, today. I do service. Actually, the meeting, I haven't been in a really good space. I've been in one of those, I call it a funky mood. I've been in that funky space. And but because I had that commitment this morning, I got what I needed in that meeting. I still don't feel 100% of where I would like to be, But the one thing that I'm not doing today is I'm not eating. I'm not eating, you know. I weigh and measure my food. You know, I call my food into my sponsor every day. And I could tell you, I used to make food changes on my own back in them days. I don't make no food changes on my own. I don't do anything on my own. Matter of fact, I just had to, you know, I'm working on my 4th year back. I got you, Nancy, thank you. I had to call, I talked to my sponsor the other day. I was committing my food and I asked him a question because a lot of times, you know, I don't like to talk about my food stuff. I talk about the program stuff, the stuff that's written on that gray sheet. I don't, you know, I don't want to be in a debate with anybody, what they do, what their sponsor lets them do, or anything like that. You know, I keep my abstinence is personal, but it's the same thing that you guys do. I do exactly the same thing you guys do. When I first came, the first time I cupped, you know, but when I found out you could use the scale, I used the scale, you know, so that's what I use today, you know, and I still use the tablespoons. I have all of the utensils because I never know when I'm going to be in a situation that, you know, I may not have my scale, I might have to use my cups, you know, and there's always a way to there's always a way to stay abstinent. There's, you know, like, you know, I could say like, oh man, I don't have my scale. Oh, I could have two, one person I know, I could have 2 cluck clucks, you know, and or whatever she calls it. But I could have something. I can have something that I don't have to put on the scale to be abstinent, you know, because it's written on the gray sheet a certain way. So I followed the gray sheet the way it is written. And when I have you know, a question, I call somebody. I called my sponsor one day. He wasn't available. I had a question about something, a fat, and I called somebody else and I told him, listen, he's not there, but do you think I could use this? And they said, oh yeah, you could use that. And if he says you can't, you go tell him to, you know, because they knew my sponsor. So they just pretty much, you know, I trust the people that I reach out to because I know they're going to give me the right information. You know, I'm going to turn 68 in August, you know, and there's a big part of me is like saying, you know what, man, you know, it's time to, you know, to retire, you know, because I don't know, maybe it's an old man's thing, you know, like I just can't deal with the politic nonsense that goes on working in you know, working in an organization that I'm at now, and it's nothing for me to prove there anymore, you know. I was off for a week last week and I enjoyed being on the week, even though I had to take care of my health issue. But when I had to come back, that same stuff, it came right back, you know. And for the Serenity Prayer helps me out a lot because, you know, like I can't control what goes on. I only could control myself and my actions and what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna say. You know, I can't put myself in a situation where I'm gonna create insanity for myself. But the 10th step tells me that if I look at what's going on in my life, it gives me the ability to see why I'm feeling a certain way. And, you know, and I could work towards to get away from it, because those are the reasons why I ate all the time, because I didn't want to feel nothing, you know, and I just accepted a lot of stuff. Like if it was going on, I said, okay, I'll accept it, but I'll eat and I'll feel okay, you know. But the thing about compulsive eating for me is it doesn't work. After a certain amount of time, it didn't work for me anymore, you know. So I'm grateful for the bottom that I hit. You know, I went to this, they have this thing in my job, 25 years and over, right? So they do this event, right? So I had already came back already. I think this was my first year back. And I went to this event, and then there was a girl there, a young lady, see, this woman that I had dated back when I was abstinent the first time. I got you, Nancy. I dated, and she saw me and she was like, oh my God, Jeff, you look so good. She says, what are you doing? You doing that scale thing again? And I said, yeah, I am doing the scale thing again. You know, like I used to get crazy about that scale. You know, I didn't want, like I would date somebody and I was afraid to bring the scale out for that girl or that one. And now I'm seeing that those people didn't care. They admired it. they admired it. People admire you. I mean, of course, you're gonna have those people that be saying like, "Hey, you know, why do you have to do that?" You know, and as far as I'm concerned, this is my absence. This is what I have to do for me to save my life. You know, Grace, she saved my life. Okay, I literally saved my life. I don't know. I was all over the place. I don't know if I said anything to help anybody, but as far as I'm concerned, you know, I have to speak that where I'm at today. And Jack, I love you. Thank you for asking me to come out today to share.